I'm Chrissy. Welcome to my video. Today, I'm going to show you how to turn this into this. So you want your gelatinous cube to be big enough to engulf your players, or even multiple players for a TPK. Just kidding. But the way to make it big enough is you're going to want it to be 2 inches by 2 inches. So I do that by making a template out of cardboard. This is just an old pizza box. But you're going to have 5 2-inch by 2-inch squares arranged in a plus. This is going to make measuring and cutting your plastic a whole lot easier. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need are some bottles. Cardboard template, Sharpie marker, Exacto knife, scissors, scotch tape, ruler, kitchen knife, towel, iron, hot glue gun, and a cookie sheet covered with tinfoil and sprayed with cooking spray. So I started the hole here with an Exacto knife. You just take some scissors, so if you put your template on here, you can actually make 2 cubes if you're careful. So avoid the label glue. Now, you're not going to want the black lines to show up on your cube. So you'll actually cut on the inside like this. Oops. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can rub off the excess with hand sanitizer if it bothers you. But it's not likely that it'll show up underneath the hot glue. And this will be your gelatinous cube. As you see, I've already made a whole bunch of these. So I'm going to be making a whole ton of these gelatinous cubes. Now you may have noticed that these actually curl up to the shape of the bottle, which are going to make it difficult to shape into a cube. If it was flat, it'd be a lot easier, obviously. So, you have to iron these. Now, don't jump in right away, because not all irons work the same. Some get really hot, and trying to iron these, they'll just melt straight up, like oozy, liquidy. So the best thing to do is to test your iron. Just basically lay out your towel. And use one of your scraps. Now this is a cheap iron. I got this for $5, and it doesn't really get too hot. So it just works pretty fine with direct contact. Now if you test it out and you find that it is too hot and this melts down really fast, the thing to do is to cover it with a towel and iron through the towel to protect it from direct heat. That way you can flatten it out but not melt it. If it's still too hot, it might melt to your towel, so you can always turn your settings down. I have this at almost max. I have it on cotton, so it's pretty high, but it's very cheap, so it's probably not too hot. So since I can do this with direct pressure, I'll show you how I flatten one out. So I just hold it curved side out, just quick, and you see it's almost completely flat. Sometimes you'll have to flip it over a few times till you get it to where you think it's going to be good. And then it should be pretty flat. Now, the more you do this, the more you can get it to bubble up. So some of them you can get to bubble up a lot, which will give it kind of an oozy, gelatinous feel, like bubbling jello. And some, you can just keep them mostly flat. But it still has kind of a liquidy look. So the next step in making your cube is to create some guidelines where you're going to bend it into a cube shape. So you don't want to use a knife that's too sharp, because you'll end up cutting through. So use a ruler. Metal rulers are best, but I don't have a metal ruler, so we have to make do. Just line it up along the edge. Just kind of you don't want to cut all the way through. you can bend your cube. Now it's going to be a little bubbly and wonky. So the way to get it to stay in shape, to hot glue it, is you're going to use some Scotch tape. I like to create this little tab to make the tape easier to pull off after you've finished hot gluing it. It also makes it easier to do this. Now, depending on how bubbly you've made your cube, this might be a little difficult. It doesn't have to be perfect. There may be gaps between your edges. The hot glue will fill that in, so don't worry about that too much. And just use your Scotch tape. Line the edges. Now you have a cube. Here comes the fun part, hot glue. So I always put it on tin foil so that I can make the bottoms so it's nice and flat and will sit flush on your board. However, last time I did it, the tin foil kind of stuck when I tried to pull it off. So this time I sprayed the tin foil with cooking spray and tested it, and it comes off pretty well. So now, if you have a hot glue gun that has settings, go with the low heat, because high heat will melt your cubes. If you have a hot glue gun that does not have a setting, like this one, I suggest testing it out on a scrap before you actually test it out on your cube. So this hot glue gun works fine making the cubes. They don't melt. So we're gonna go with this one. Start along the open gap edges and just kind of try to fill those in. When you go across the top, just put a whole lot and let it drip down. more glue you add, the more it'll drip. That gives it the drippy, oozy look. And then to make it sit flush, you're going to go along the edge. And once that completely dries, you just pull it back off the tin foil. Hopefully it won't stick. And you'll have a flat cube along the bottom. I don't recommend holding the cube while you work with it because hot glue burns do not feel good. Put a whole lot of excess along the top. Just let it roll down. A freshly baked dozen gelatinous cubes. Don't they look delicious? The perfect entree to serve up to your murder hobos. I'm actually going to be giving away 10 of these, so check the description for a chance to win. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And stay tuned for the next episode of Off to the Dungeons, where I'm going to make the holders from ping pong balls, twist ties, beads, and I might even make a derpy one with some goo eyes. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.